Hi everyone and welcome to 5 Points Blue. I'm Kelsey Charles, joined by Christy Scales, Nita Shrikant, and Miss Lindsay Cash. We are talking reassessing the Cowboys' schedule. I know when I first got my hands on the schedule, I wasn't too confident, but the Cowboys are now 5-1 on the season. So, guys, Lindsay, I guess start it off and let us know, what are your thoughts heading forward as the Cowboys take on 3 home games and looking forward to the rest of the season?
Well, I think the first thing you do is only go from last season. I remember kind of standing there at training camp with all of you guys, kind of looking around. No Jason Hatcher, no DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Lawrence goes down with an injury, and we're kind of all scratching our heads wondering, can only be as good as last season, right? And things started to crumble. But the way the coordinators, Linehan and Marinelli, have pieced things together has been absolutely outstanding.
Certainly changed expectations, hasn't it? A 5-game win streak. I mean, even the most optimistic Cowboy fan, I don't think would have anticipated that after the way it started so poorly in the first half of the season opener, losing to the 49ers. But boy, if this is the longest win streak since 2007. Wow. The team ended that year 13-3. And of course, didn't get past the divisional round of the playoffs, and that was a loss to the Giants, who the Cowboys face on Sunday. But I think that with the expectations being raised, at least nationally, that's changed some things with the rankings and how people view the Cowboys around the country.
Yeah, the rankings have changed. The Cowboys are number 3 in the ESPN poll, number 4 in the NFL poll, and 3 and 4 is actually swapped between the Eagles as well. But more importantly, I see these next 2 games against the Giants and the Redskins as trapped games. I mean, division opponents, they're familiar with them.
So we talk about the possibility of the postseason. That's something that's been tossed around. And I know, Christy, you and I were talking earlier, and you said what's interesting is the only other team, well, there's 2 other teams, the Eagles and the Chargers. They're tied at 5-1. So obviously the Cowboys face the Eagles as an opponent to have to beat out to make it to the postseason too.
Yeah, but the Cowboys don't play the Eagles until December, and they play them twice in a 3-week period. The first of those games is the Thanksgiving Day game. But Nita, I think you're right about these next 2 games coming up against the Giants and the Redskins. It's the first time that these are division games, right? So the Cowboys have taken care of business against some AFC foes, and of course the Seattle is NFC West. But technically, even though the Eagles and Cowboys have identical 5-1 records, because the Eagles have a couple of wins within the division, technically the Eagles are in first place. But yeah, in terms of, it could be a trap game. Boy, the Giants look so horrible.
Yep.
They were blown out 27-0, embarrassed on national TV Sunday Night Football by the Eagles last week. But they still have Eli Manning. They're without Victor Cruz, Rashad Jennings, their starting running back. But this is a streaky team, and strange things happen when the Giants come to AT&T Stadium.
Well, I think it's also important to note that the Cowboys do play only 1 home game in December. They're on the road for a lot of those games, and they are also in cold climates too. So the fact that they're kind of converting themselves to a run-oriented offense is going to be really important when they go to these colder climates. So also, another area of this team that has kind of exceeded expectations has been the defense. I know myself, when you just mentioned you lost Hatcher, you lost Ware, you lose your 2nd-round draft pick in DeMarcus Lawrence in the offseason. Sean Lee, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not too confident in what we've got on that side of the ball. But they've, quite frankly, exceeded expectations, and DeMarcus Lawrence is coming back into practice this week. So is this defense going to be even better?
I think it is. I mean, I think the Cowboys have absolutely hit a jackpot with Rolando McClain. I didn't really expect that. It was very hazy when he kind of came in, if he would be focused. And Orlando Scandrick even has been outstanding. He's been the one that's kind of come in on the nickel situations, been able to stop the tight ends a little bit.
And you make sure everyone knows that.
Good He's point. Very vocal.
Yes, yeah. Christy, have you seen the locker room as hyped as it was in a long time?
That was, let me tell you, the plane ride home from Seattle on Sunday night. I don't want it to sound like it's a party, because it's not, but most of the time, both to and from the wherever we're going as the visiting team, it's very businesslike. It's a business trip. But coming off that Seattle win, there were a few players with their portable jam boxes going up and down the airline aisles.
This is exactly why I feel it's a trap game. It's right now, 5-1, nobody expects you to be there. And the mentality is like, oh my gosh, we're playing the Giants this week. You know, they're not doing so well.
Yeah, well, I
got a
don't
trap
think
feeling
Coach
to it.
Marinelli and Coach Henderson, who handles the secondary, and Matt Eberflus, who's the linebackers, these guys are not going to get too big for their britches.
And I think that's really important for the veterans, the Jason Witten, the Tony Romo, to kind of remind these guys, all right, you know what? We have business to do. I don't, like Christy said, I don't think that's a problem at all, but that is where the veteran role really gets important.
Yeah, there's going to need to be a humbling experience at some point. Some coach or, you know, someone in the locker room leader, Witten, someone's going to have to just step up and say, 5-1 is not the goal. It's, you know, we're getting part of the process.
Let me just say that it's the fans and it's the media that gets caught up in the hype, and these guys, all you have to do is put on the game film. All you have to do is see the new Giants tight end Larry Donnell with his 3 touchdowns against the Redskins.
They've struggled in covering tight ends.
Right. So you know that's going to be a big matchup this week. So believe me, all the stuff about eating the cheese, the players don't really do that. It is so focused day to day to day to day that they don't get caught up in all the things that we do.
Well, it'll be interesting and important to see how this team does handle success. But that is all we have time for you guys today. Thank you all so much for joining us. For Lindsay Cash, Anita Shriek-Hampton, Christy Scales, I'm Kelsey Charles. This has been 5pointsblue.com.